There have been a lot of developments already today. Let's get right to Hallie Jackson at the White House with more about the Bolton book. Hallie.
And Lester, this is just all coming out in the last 30 minutes or so with a new revelation now from the New York Times that is sure to play out with Democrats in particular as this impeachment trial appears to be starting to wrap up. It is yet another shoe you could say that is dropping. And it is this. The New York Times is reporting on that as yet unpublished book by former National Security Advisor John Bolton. And talking now in this book, Bolton apparently writes, according to the Times, of a meeting that President Trump had with him and others in early May. So that is 2 months before that now infamous July 25th phone call between President Trump and the Ukrainian president, President Vladimir Zelensky. The Times says that President Trump told Ambassador Bolton at the time to call President Zelensky to ensure that Zelensky would meet with Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal attorney, who was planning a trip to Ukraine to talk about the investigations that the president wanted. In the room, according to the New York Times reporting on this Bolton manuscript, were others, including Pat Cipollone, Lester, the lead White House counsel, manning point on this impeachment trial defense, Mick Mulvaney, the acting chief of staff as well, and Rudy Giuliani. We have reached out to all of these entities for comment, and I can tell you that in just the last couple of minutes, NBC News is getting a statement on this from President Trump that says, I never instructed John Bolton to set up a meeting for Rudy Giuliani, one of the greatest corruption fighters in America and by far the greatest mayor in the history of New York City, to meet with President Zelensky, the president saying definitively that meeting never happened. Now, Lester, you could say, fine. Is this now a he said situation? There are others who were, according to the manuscript that the New York Times is reporting on, in the room as well, including Cipollone, including Mulvaney, who could either back up or deny what either of these individuals is saying here. I can tell you that I spoke with an aide to former Ambassador Bolton, who says that he is not expected to comment, at least not right now. We'll be waiting and watching for more on that. But already, this is, again, something that I think you will expect to see Democrats pick up on. This is harkens back to earlier this week, right, Lester, on Sunday, when that first sort of Bolton revelation came out from this unpublished manuscript. This is yet another piece of information that Democrats may point to say this is why we need documents and witnesses. This is why we want to have more information, and we want to hear from John Bolton directly in this call for witnesses, despite overnight news that indicates that that is not likely to happen, given that a key Republican senator, Lamar Alexander, has indicated he will vote no on witnesses, Lester. So a lot of moving pieces here at the White House and on Capitol Hill this morning.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.